There are smartphones that come out every once in a while that demands your attention, and in the sea of so many smartphones out there, especially in the Android space, it's hard to be something unique. The Zero Ultra by Infinix is the almost premium looking smartphone the brand has released yet. It's a smartphone that demands your attention as it features game-changing charging speed, a jaw-dropping 200 megapixel main camera with optical image stabilization, and really good looking build. It's currently the most expensive smartphone Infinix Mobile has ever produced, with a price tag of almost 400,000 naira. I mean, who could have thought a day like this will come when Infinix phones will be competing with the likes of Samsung flagships and even iPhones in terms of pricing. Anyways, the days are finally here, and I have been using this device for a couple of weeks as my daily smartphone. And I must say, it does look and feel like a premium flagship device, but where does it come up short, or should you consider the Infinix Zero Ultra as your next smartphone? Let's find out in this review. Welcome back, guys. So I'm looking to get 2,000 subscribers before the year 2022 runs out. To support my channel, please hit the free subscribe button down below and also the notification bell to be the first to get notified of my new uploads. Now, moving on to the phone itself, the Infinix Zero Ultra is a big smartphone in the best of ways in my opinion. It's a tall device at 165.5mm that sports a 6.8 inches display. It got a punch hole for its 32 megapixel selfie camera and a curved display that creates that waterfall effect on the side, which I have to say is done elegantly and is not a distraction at all. Placed on the right side is a power and lock button as well as a volume rocker. The buttons here are firm and clicky, easy to reach as they are placed near the middle of the frame. On the top frame, it got a secondary loudspeaker and a microphone. Down below is a dual nano SIM card slot, main microphone, USB-C port, and a primary loudspeaker. Sadly, you don't get a headphone jack by default on this one, making it the first Infinix phone to opt out of this feature. But you do get a USB-C to 3.5 dongle in the box. Aside from the dongle, you're also getting a free Type-C earphones, a Type-C to Type-C charging cable, and of course the 180-watt charging brick with a Type-C port too. Included in the box is MTN free data redemption card, the regular SIM tray ejector tool, Xclub Xpact invite card, screen protector, and a card with a QR code that gives you access to a limited edition animated NFT of the company's Xbox Explorer. You're also getting a clear casing to protect the device from scratches. The headphone jack is not the only feature Infinix has done away with here by default. You are also not getting to use a microSD card as the phone doesn't support external storage, which means you are stuck with a 256 GB of internal storage. At the rear of the smartphone, you will see the large triple camera module that houses a 200 megapixel main sensor, a 13 megapixel ultra wide, and the not so impressive 2 megapixel macro lens. I frown at the fact that Infinix went with this particular sensor for a macro lens instead of a 5 megapixel macro sensor for a device of this price category. Anyways, I'll talk about these cameras later in this review. Covering the rear panel is a textured plastic back that, in a colorway cost like silver, looks like white sand waves that flow throughout the rear. It's very good looking to touch and curves elegantly to the sides. It's definitely made out of plastic, not glass. While the phone is quite weighty and feels well made at 218 grams, it's still very comfortable for one-hand usage, as both sides have cuffs. It makes it seem slimmer than it actually is and is very easy to grip. Navigation though is a different thing, as you probably need to use both your hands to go around the user interface or type messages comfortably. Good to note though that the included plastic case with the device is thin enough and doesn't add a lot of bulk to the phone itself. One of the things that is not included with the device is dust and water resistance for durability, which is one feature you expect to see from other brands' flagship devices. They had it here almost with other specs, but that lack of an IP rating may be a deal breaker. And this is probably where the company cut some corners to somehow lower the price of the device. Some users online though have said that they have already submerged the Infinix Zero Ultra in water and it survived like it has an IP rating. This might be a case of just not getting an official IP rating for the smartphone. So if you have this device, don't try this at home as there is no official rating for the Zero Ultra. The overall design of this phone does give off a flagship vibe. Whether you love them or hate them, curved displays look attractive. This is a massive 6.8 inches panel with a very slim bezel all around, which is very attractive too. It's an AMOLED screen and you will be getting deep blacks and vibrant colors with a resolution of 2400 by 1080 pixels and a max refresh rate of 120 Hz. Animation, scrolling, and general user interface navigation is very smooth. You definitely enjoy watching content on this screen or even glued to it. There is also an option to lower the refresh rate to 60 Hz to save a bit of battery, but no automatic adjustments here. The overall viewing experience is really immersive as the screen is very sharp even at full HD plus resolution as said. It's also very bright and can go up to 900 nits, so using this device outdoor was never an issue for me. Also, the dual speakers can get very loud. There is a definite lack of bass here, but vocals come out clearly. Sounds coming out from movies was more immersive than I thought on this device. It also has DST sound, which adjusts your sound to music, video, games or smart to best suit your needs, and also features an equalizer if you want to personalize your audio. For biometrics, you have an on-display fingerprint scanner and face unlock. Both have worked well enough for me so far. They both seem to be quick and accurate, so good job to Infinix on this department as well. Now moving on to the performance, powering the Infinix Zero Ultra is the MediaTek Dimensity 920 chipset with 8GB of RAM and a max CPU clock speed of 2.5 GHz. It also features a Mali G68MC4 GPU. When it comes to regular everyday performance, this device does pretty well enough. Apps always launch quickly and I never had a problem multitasking with the device. It's very snappy considering it sports a mid-range processor. With this being marketed as a flagship device, I would have liked to see something a bit more powerful. The MediaTek Dimensity 8100 or the Dimensity 1300 would have taken this phone to a different level, allowing it to compete with proper flagships. However, that would have added to the price and I suspect the target market of this phone may not appreciate that. However, I did get 59 FPS on Call of Duty Mobile on high graphics settings, which was impressive. Gaming on this device shouldn't be a problem, but don't expect flagship performance on this processor. It belongs to the mid-range segment. And that brings us to the crowning glory of this smartphone, the battery. It's not the capacity that will surprise you, as it only sports 4500 mAh capacity, which seems to be about the average size nowadays, but the 180 watt Thunder charging capability of the smartphone. You'll easily get through a full day of moderate to heavy use, but on occasions where you hammer the battery with things like videography, taking pictures, or using GPS, the 180 watt Thunder charge really changes things here, as you can go from 0 to 100% in between looking away for about 19 minutes. It achieves this by effectively charging two batteries and charging them at 90 watt each, like most phones with this high charging speed. Infinix claimed it will do a full charge from 0 to 100% in just 12 minutes, but during my several tests, it landed either on 18 minutes or 19 minutes, which is still very impressive at this time. You can also check out my full charging speed test from the description link below. As to the software, it comes with Infinix latest XOS 12 overlay based on Android 12. It's a very simple user interface with some traits copied from certain brands out there like Xiaomi. Overall though, it's very easy to navigate and gives you enough personalization to suit your needs. I have experienced no significant problems with the UI aside from the usual bootload of bloatware apps and annoying pop-up ads filling up the notification area, which is typical of an Infinix smartphone. So far, I've had one OTA update that tends to fix things on the camera department and overall stability of the phone. No news as to whether this device will be getting the Android 13 software update or frequent OTA update, but knowing Infinix not to be good at this aspect, I doubt if a new Android version will be coming to this device anytime soon. So do have that in mind as well. Lastly, the cameras. The Infinix Zero Ultra 200 megapixel main camera is obviously the second selling point aside from the 180 watt charging feature. The sensor is powered by what the company says is the Samsung ISOCELL HP1 sensor. I was mostly interested in this new Samsung sensor as it is the first time I have used a smartphone with it. By the way, the MediaTek Dimensity 920 processor in here only supports 108 megapixel max camera. And it's interesting how Infinix managed to equip the Zero Ultra with that 200 megapixel sensor. And for the most part, it doesn't disappoint. The images produced are sharp and very detailed, albeit a bit too saturated for my taste sometimes. And also when taking photos at full 200 megapixel resolution, it lags during image processing, and I'm not sure the Dimensity 920 chipset again was the best processor for such a demanding task. The camera does well in most situations and can actually compete with smartphones more expensive than this one. The photos are rich in colors and sharpness, and this same performance is maintained in low light conditions too. This also goes for night shots and portrait shots too. Do take note though that in the regular AI camera mode, it only takes 12 megapixel pictures, which are already sharp enough for everyday use. You have to manually select the 200 megapixel mode in order to use the full power of the sensor. Using this mode raises the detail that you can see in the picture, but it also raises the file size to around 70 megabytes per second, which will clearly eat up your memory in no time if you are a picture person. As long as you have a good lighting though, I don't see the need to use that 200 megapixel mode. The regular AI or Pro mode creates sharp enough images for everyday use. When it comes to video recording, the Infinix Zero Ultra can shoot up to 4K 30 frames per second and 1080 60 frames per second. The quality is mostly the same as images and comes with good stabilization, which is impressive. So what are your thoughts on this camera? The comment section is all yours to sound off your opinion on this aspect of the Zero Ultra camera. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like using the selfie camera of the Zero Ultra for videography, shooting at 1080 60 frames per second. You can also shoot at 4K 30 frames per second and 1080 30 frames per second, as well as 720 30 frames per second. So what are your thoughts on this selfie camera for videography, as well as the sound coming off from the mic of the smartphone? What are your observations? What do you think about it? Do you like what you see? Let me know from the comment section down below. The Infinix Zero Ultra got a lot of things right, and I have been impressed with the overall performance during my daily usage. It looks and feels like a premium flagship phone with a feature that many smartphones at this price lack, such as the insane 180-watt charging speed and the 200-megapixel main camera, which are the primary selling points of this phone. I won't make any grand claims about this being the best camera-focused smartphone out there, but I have been impressed by what it does. However, the lack of official IP rating could raise questions as to whether the Zero Ultra is a good investment, but if you don't mind, this is excellent and well worth considering in 2022 going 2023. This is where I come to the end of my opinion of the Infinix Zero Ultra. Thanks for watching guys, and also don't forget to subscribe, it means a lot here. See you when next you see me.